What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with another review for Belair season number 3, episode number 3. And this episode was titled True Colors, you guys. Now, before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode of Belair, shall we? All right, you guys. So this episode it opens up, and we see Will and Carlton, right? So Will and Carlton, they are working on their logo for their business, right? And when they finally did the logo, I was like, okay, I love this logo, and it also incorporates the crown that is in between Bel Air. Good. So overall, I liked it, right? So then we see Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv is in the kitchen and she's talking to Jeffrey, and she's asking Jeffrey, did you get any off vibes with Erica at the party? And so Jeffrey was, just kind of looking at her like, what are you talking about? And so Uncle Phil came in and she just ended the conversation with Jeffrey at that point, right? But Uncle Phil noticed that she got the flowers from Sharif, and she was like, yeah, he was just sending out a thank you to everybody, right? And then Uncle Phil read the card and he was like, well, this one is more so addressed to you. I was like, ooh, Uncle Phil, you a little jealous? So next up, we see Will and Carlton. So Will and Carlton went down to the record shop where Jazz is, right? So they were, telling, they showed Jazz the logo. So what they want to do is that with them making money from the shirts and everything with their business, they also want to be able to help Jazz be able to keep his record store, right? Now, while they're talking to Jazz, they met a woman by the name of Yolanda who is running for city council. And so Yolanda is giving Jazz some flyers to pass out because they're going to be having a car show, basically, right? And so Carlton suggests to Will, like, hey, that might be a good idea for us to go to the car show for, us to be able to help push out the business and get more eyes on the business, right? So then we see Lisa. So Lisa is over at the pool. She's training with a woman by the name of Nairobi, right? And so Nairobi is telling Lisa what she needs to do in order for her to qualify for nationals. She also told Lisa that, if you had anything planned for this summer, go ahead and just cancel it because all of your time is going to be primarily focused with me and trying to get you to the nationals. So that's it with Lisa. And then we move over to Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv is having lunch with Hillary and with Ashley. So Aunt Viv is ecstatic and ready to plan Hillary's, bridal, her engagement party and all this stuff. Now, when it comes down to Hillary, Hillary is a little bit on, she's a little quiet, and she's a little quiet, right? A little reluctant. So Aunt Viv asked her, like, what's going on with you, Hillary? And but she at when she asked her what was going on, her phone started going off. And Hillary just basically told Aunt Viv, like, it's a lot going on with work and all this kind of stuff, right? So Aunt Viv, like I said, Aunt Viv's phone is the hotline bling over there, right? And so Hillary looked at her phone and she's like, somebody is liking like a lot of your pictures and also sliding in your DMs. And so Hillary reported and blocked the person who was in her DMs, right? So Viv was like, oh, she forgot that she had a meeting set up with Lisa. So she went to go see Lisa, right? And so that just left Ashley and Hillary at the table with each other. So Ashley lets Hillary know, like, girl, at Daddy's party, I saw you and Jazz kiss each other. And so um, Ashley was like, so you're still gonna marry Lamarcus? And she was like, yeah. She said it was just a mistake. So Ashley was like, okay. So Hillary was like, but let's keep that between me and you. And Ashley was like, girl, I think the hell not. Like, you need to go be honest with your fiance. What happened between you and Jazz? I was like, ooh, okay. So then we moved back over to Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv, like I said, she was going to go see Lisa, right? So she met with Lisa. She let Lisa know that Nairobi told her, nothing but good things, how well things went. So Lisa thanked her, and Aunt Viv was like, "Girl, it's never too much." Because you guys remember, Aunt Viv and Lisa's mom were best friends. So she said, "I told your mama that I would always look out for you, and I got your back, all right?" So then Jackie came up, and Lisa said, "Congratulations on the job." And she's like, "Yeah, it was all thanks to Mrs. Banks." And so after that, you can see a little bit of tension between Lisa. It's between Lisa, not Jackie. Strictly Lisa, right? So Jackie made a joke about Aunt Viv adopting her, and Lisa's like, "Well, her goddaughter would have an issue with that." And she's like, "Oh, it's fine, girl. You were here first. No harm, no foul, right?" So Jackie ended up leaving, and this is when Lisa told Aunt Viv about Jackie and Will having a thing, and she's like, "Oh," and she's like, "Damn it!" Like she realized that she made a mistake, and Lisa was like, "No, you just have a big heart and you want to help everybody, right?" So then we move over to Uncle Phil's office. So Jeffrey came in, and he has information on this business developer by the name of Omar Campbell, right? And Omar is looking for a legal team. And Uncle Phil says to Jeffrey, like, at this point, we're overextended. And Jeffrey's like, we're overextended with the business that Erica brought in. And Jeffrey feels that Uncle Phil should, branch out and get some clients of his own independent of Erica. And I agree with that. I agree with that. Let me know what you guys think. So while they're in the office, Frederick came in and Frederick let them know, like, hey, I've done this. Whatever task that they had for him to do, he's already done it. So Jeffrey now has to go and find something else for Frederick to do, right? Now we move back over to Will and Carlton. So Will and Carlton were showing off their merch to Lisa and Jackie, right? And you can see the jealousy with Lisa because she's feeling away about Jackie. So Will asked them, both Jackie and Lisa, told them about the car show and asking them will they come down and help. Lisa was like, I have to see what my schedule is looking like. Jackie was, gung ho for it. And I was like, this ain't gonna be good. And even Carlton told him like that. Like he told Will, he's like, you're inviting both Jackie and Lisa. He's like, Will, you do realize at this point you're playing with fire. And I was like, absolutely. So after that, we see Will. So he told Carlton they're back at the house, and Will is telling Carlton that he caught Frederick acting kind of sus. And so Carlton was like, "What do you mean, kind of sus?" He's like, "Well, at Uncle Phil's party, I heard, Frederick on a call, and he mentioned Jeffrey's name and not telling Jeffrey anything." And he's like, "Do you think we should say something?" I think you like, "Do you think we should say something?" And Carlton was like, I think we should keep his name. I think we should just keep his name out of our mouths, basically, right? So Uncle Phil came in and asked him, like, what about Frederick? And Will says, "Oh, we were just thinking about inviting him to the car show. Basically, they're gonna keep him close. So that way, if there is anything suspect that there's going on, they can suss it out and then go back to Jeffrey with it. And if it isn't, then no harm, no foul, right?" Now we move over to Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv is in her room, and Uncle Phil comes in, and he's like, working hard. She's like, yeah. She's like, she's going through some application, some apps, and nothing is just hitting her. Nothing is standing out to her, right? So he told her about getting more business, not necessarily relying heavily on Erica's firm, right? So Aunt Viv was like, but at the party, you were just talking about how good business is because of Erica's, you know, clients, right? But Uncle Phil told Aunt Viv that, well, actually, she asked him if something has changed. He said, "No, I knew you were uncomfortable at first." So he says, to be more sensitive to your feelings. That's why he's doing this, right? So then we see Ashley. So Ashley's with her friend Olivia. So Ashley and Olivia, they're in her room, and Olivia's asking Ashley, like, hey, have you worked on any new music lately, right? So Ashley worked on some new music. She also was asking Ashley about Hillary. And Ashley, no, I do like the direction with this one, because Ashley in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air could sing. This young lady, she started rapping her song. I was like, oh, that's a clever twist, a rapper. Well, so okay, cool. Now, when she wrote that poem, it's about her family, but I feel like more specifically, it was about Hillary. I feel like it was more about Hillary. So after that, we move on and we see Cruz. So Cruz took Aunt Viv to this mural that somebody had painted, and it was freshly painted because the paint was still on there, right? So Aunt Viv loved it, and she tasked Cruz with finding out who was behind that art, right? Now we move over to the car show, right? We see Jackie working the crowd. We see Lisa kind of working the crowd. We see Carlton working the social media aspect. So we just see them out there networking and building the business, and I love to see it, right? Now we move back over to Hillary and Ivy. They're at the country club, and they're getting ready to go play tennis, right? So Ivy is going down the plans, with business for Hillary with the engagement party. With I guess she got a name for Hillary and Lamarcus. So Ivy has everything mapped out, but once again, Hillary is still kind of, you know, in another world. So Ivy asked, like, Hill, what's going on? So Hillary told her about the kiss, and she's like, so are you in love with Jack? She's like, no. So she said, so you still marrying Lamarcus? She said, yes. I mean, it depends on how he reacts to me telling him. She's like, wait. Why would you tell him? And she's like, because Ashley saw. And so Ivy at this point is talking Hillary out of telling Lamarcus that, she kissed Jazz. I was like, I don't know if that's gonna help, but okay. So next up we move back over to the car show, right? So Jazz has his car there, and there's this guy that comes up to Jazz, offers Jazz $30,000 for the car. Jazz was like, right now I'm not really looking to sell the car. I'm just mostly putting out feelers, right? So the guy told him, you know what? Whenever you're ready to sell, hit me up. So Will and Carlton came back over, and Will was telling him how people are really feeling the merch and that they want to help Charlie's, right? And then we also see that Frederick came down. So Amira, she also came, and Amira came in a Hellcat. Oh my God! If you know anything about me, like, that is a car that I've wanted for a long time, a Hellcat. But the reason why I won't get a Hellcat is because of this episode, and I know me. I have a heavy foot when it comes to the gas, and baby, I would have so many tickets in that car. So it's best that I probably never get a Hellcat, but I really want one, right? So we find out. So Will was talking to both Jackie and to Lisa, right? So Lisa let Will know that she sold 12 shirts, and Jackie came over, and Jackie's pre-sold 36 shirts, and she also has a friend who has a nail salon who may be able to give them some shelf space. And the look on Lisa's face, I was like, "Ooh, Lisa, Mama, if looks could unalive a person, your looks would be taking Jackie all the way out." So when Jackie and Will left, Amira she was talking to Lisa, like, ain't that bogus that she's talking to your boyfriend, and Lisa like, he's not my boyfriend. And Amira was like, well, girl, you got that stank ass look on your face, so it says otherwise. So we moved back over to Uncle Phil. So Uncle Phil went to go see Omar, right? And we find out that the project that Omar is building is being met with a lot of opposition, right? People are destroying his property. He's having issues with the city and things of that nature. So Uncle Phil was telling him that, he may be able to help him. But then he also brought up his portfolio. And I was like, well, what's the purpose of you bringing up your portfolio? And Omar was like, I don't necessarily remember asking you for help. And Uncle Phil says it, but it doesn't mean that you don't need help as well. And I was like, touche. So Uncle Phil, he went to look around at the property, and just see. We'll see what Uncle Phil's going to do with that, right? So after that, we see Frederick. So Frederick was taking bets, and Will and Carlton went up to Frederick and was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Taking bets for the street race." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I'm like, "This is not going to go well." I was so nervous with this whole street racing thing from the get go, right? So we moved back over to Cruz. So Cruz found the mystery artist, and Aunt Viv was trying to find the person on social media. Come to find out, earlier in the episode, you remember when I told you that Hillary, Aunt Viv, and Ashley were out, and that Aunt Viv's phone kept going off? Well, the mystery person that was liking her photos and in her DMs, that's the same person who was behind the art mural. But Aunt Viv still wants to have a meeting with the person. Cruz was reluctant to do it, but Aunt Viv talked her into setting it up, right? Now we move back over to the street race. So Will found Jazz in his car, and Jazz was emotional. He was crying, and he was telling Will, like, the same fire and passion that you and Carlton have, is what I had when I started running Charlie's. And he was like, when I started running Charlie's, I was thinking that I would have multiple locations in LA, possibly one in Vegas, right? And I realized why Jazz was so emotional because of his car, because he is pretend, he's at his wits end, and he needs the money for the business, so he's going to sell the car. So he asked Will to give him a few minutes, right? Will also told him that what's going on in South LA isn't your fault, but then he was like, neither is but he was like, it doesn't that doesn't help with the failure, so something like that, right? So we see Will went up to Amira, Lisa, and Carlton. He was like, we got to do everything we can to keep Jazz from losing his car. And he wants to do that with the street race, right? So then we see as Jazz made a bet with the guy that wants the car. So if that guy wins, Jazz gives him the car. If Jazz wins, Jazz gets $30,000 plus five. So he gets $35,000 from the guy, right? And so Carlton was the one that was supposed to drive the car, and then Amira gave him her Hellcat to drive, right? So when the guy pulled up in his car, Carlton knows a lot about cars, and when he saw that guy's car and the horsepower that he has, Carlton got a little bit nervous. So Will was like, you know what, fuck it, Carlton, I'm gonna drive the car. And Carlton's like, what do you know, Will? And so Carlton got in the car, and Will was like, get the fuck out of the car, Carlton. Carlton's like, you're not gonna win this without me. So Jackie started the race, and when they started the race, they were way behind, like extremely behind, right? So they had to go all the way down somewhere and then turn around. Now, when they got to the end where they turned around, Carlton came in the clutch to help Will turn the car around, and they had the lead. But then, oh boy, I think he was gonna try to ram them, and Carlton was like, "Get over, Will." He was like, "I don't have enough room." He was like, "Get over, Will." So Will went off of the ramp, and he was like, they were like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do?" So by the sheer luck of GPS, Carlton and Will were able to come through and end up winning the race, right? Now, when Will and them won the race, Lisa ran right up to Will and planted a kiss on Will. I was like, Lisa, you're the one that don't want no labels. Like, you are being, it's like a little bit confusing when it comes to Lisa. I know that I got people who like Lisa. It's not that I don't like Lisa. I don't feel like Lisa knows what she wants as well, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's move forward, you guys. Okay, so moving forward, we see Will, Amira, Carlton, and Lisa. They're walking down the street. Jackie comes up and she was like, "Yo, y'all want to go down to Fred's to celebrate the win, right?" And they were like, "But Fred's is close." She's like, "I know the person who worked there, and they said they got burgers on us, right?" So Lisa was like, I got some, I can't because I have to get up and train in the morning." And so Jackie was like, "Well, how about one for the Philly boy?" And so Lisa was like, "Damn, bitch, Are you always this friendly, like showing your ass? And I was like, oh, wow, Lisa. I mean, I get it that Will dated Jackie, but damn, she ain't did nothing disrespectful to you. And so Amira was, excuse me, y'all. Amira told Jackie to leave, and and Jackie was like, you know what, fuck this. And so Jackie ended up leaving, right? Amira told Carlton and Will that she would take Lisa home. So then we see Frederick. So Frederick, the guys that Frederick betted with earlier, they're walking behind Frederick asking for their money because they saying that Frederick shorted them, right? And so Will and Carlton tried to break it up until they got to the point where it was escalating. So the police came and stopped them. And so Will, Carlton, and Frederick took off running, right? And eventually they found out Frederick did take those niggas' money, right? So Jeffrey pulled up on them and he asked them like what's going on. And Frederick just basically threw Will and Carlton under the bus, making it seem like he was helping and protecting them. I was like, oh no, you didn't. So then the next day we see Will. So Will is at the country club with Lisa, and basically he's telling Lisa that he's there for her. And she was like, "Will, I don't want to do this where you don't know what you want to where you want to be." He said, "I do know where I want to be. I want to be with you." So they made it official with each other, right? So after that, we see Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv went to go have a conversation with Erica about Uncle Phil. I was like, oh, Aunt Viv is going to find out that Erica and Phil kissed. Because she asked Erica, like, you said you needed friends here in LA. And then when you get here, and every time I'm around you, like, you bolt in the other direction. So then we move back over to Ashley and Olivia, who are hanging out. So we find out that Ashley wants to start a summer band this summer, and Olivia is just happy that Ashley is smiling. So after that, we move over to Hillary. So Hillary and Ivy, they are at Lamarcus's first scrimmage game. So this is where Hillary is going to tell Lamarcus about the kiss. I was like, girl, I don't think it's gonna happen here, but okay. Good luck with that. Moving back over to Will and Carlton. So Will and Carlton found Frederick in Uncle Phil's office going through one of the files. Now, what I will say with this one is I don't necessarily know if Frederick was snooping or if Frederick was actually doing something when it comes to working with Uncle Phil and Jeffrey. But basically, Will and Carlton were telling Frederick, like, that shit that happened last night, you put that on us. That one on us. Like whatever's going on with you, tell Jeffrey. Like the best thing to do with Jeffrey is to be honest with him. And so Frederick and then Will was like, yeah, because you're taking them phone calls and the shit that's happening in the streets. It's better just to be honest with Jeffrey. And so he was like, well, how about I tell him everything, even the fact that you two were street racing. I was like, well, ooh, touche. Frederick got to go. So Uncle Phil, he got home, and Aunt Viv was pissed off because now she knows about Uncle Phil, and Erica. And I was like, damn. And they were arguing with each other. And at one point he was talking about the stuff that's going on with Carlton. Carlton was walking through the hall and heard them talking. I was like, oh, please don't let this be something that is a setback to Carlton. I hope it's not. And then lastly, you guys, we see over at the scrimmage, right? Lamarcus is playing. He got tackled really hard, but he bounced back up. I was like, I'm like, I think you finna go down like a ton of bricks. And he started walking, took his helmet off, and boom, bro man passed out on the ground. And that was the end of episode 3 of Belair, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, share the video, and until the next time, stay safe, you guys. Take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.